Israel has agreed to begin daily 4-hour humanitarian pauses in Gaza. The government says there will be no military operations in affected areas over the duration, hopefully allowing aid agencies a safer window to operate. At the same time, there's a renewed diplomatic push to free hostages taken during the terror attacks in southern Israel on October the 7th. But as the death toll continues to rise in Gaza, both Israel and the United States say there's no possibility of a ceasefire. The ABC's Eric Twarchek reports from Jerusalem.
Palestinian Islamic Jihad, which is considered a terrorist group by the Australian government, released 2 videos. The first shows a 77-year-old woman and the other a 12-year-old boy. These show 2 things. One, that those hostages are still alive, and 2, that some hostages are being held by different armed groups in Gaza, not just Hamas, which is the biggest group and the one that governs Gaza. Also, Hamas said that a hostage it was holding, an Israeli soldier, had been killed in an airstrike in one of its tunnels, presumably. It said that the 19-year-old had died when Israel struck the site. So this is not the first time that Hamas has claimed that hostages have been killed in airstrikes, but it comes as Palestinian Islamic Jihad says it's going to release hostages. It says it will release those 2. It says it will release 2 hostages when certain conditions are met. And the timing of that is very interesting because it comes as Hamas and the Israeli military fight very intense battles in certain parts of Gaza City. The Israeli military said it had sectioned off and concentrated on an area it called the Hamas military quarter. There it said it had found urban warfare training centres, lots of tunnels, munitions factory, the offices of commanders, and it had obtained numerous amounts of intelligence and other material. Hamas also released videos that appear to show fighting in the same part of Gaza City, which is very close to the biggest hospital, Al-Shifa hospital. Israel says that it has been trying to allow civilians to evacuate from Gaza City, and for the 5th day in a row it opened up what it called a safe corridor for people to leave the north part of Gaza and go towards the south, where there's not any ground combat but there are continuing airstrikes. This is something the White House actually claimed it had brokered with Israel. It said that Israel had guaranteed 4-hour pauses in the fighting to allow evacuations, but Israel's government said it had been doing that anyway for a number of days. And in fact, more than 70,000 people to yesterday had taken advantage of those pauses to leave their homes and head towards the southern part of Gaza. The US President Joe Biden said he'd asked Israel's government for a 3-day pause that he hoped would allow the release of hostages. And Israel's Prime Minister said that at the moment Israel was only talking about those safe corridors and that no ceasefire was on the table.